Ready, sir?
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and open this meeting up. Appreciate to see all about here. We have our beer permit application in front of us. And this is I hereby make application for permit to sell, storage, manufacturing, and distribute beer and other beverages authorized to be sold, stored, and manufactured and distributed under the provision of Tennessee Code Annex DCA 57-5-101 BT-SEQ and based my application upon the answers to the following questions. This application is on premises and manufacturing and distribution permit. And the full name of applicant is Jonathan Hatcher. Okay. Applicant's address is 129 Redbird Road. What is it? Summertown, Tennessee. Zip code 3483. Tennessee, date of birth 11/16/84. Cell phone 931-300-3764. Previous address within the last 10 years, 851 in Indiana. Knoxville, Tennessee, 31922.
Hearing you in the back of the audience.
The what?
Not everybody can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody here now? All right, the name of the business is Twisted Copper Brewery Company, LLC, address 121 South Main Street, Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, zip code 38474, Murray County, investment, property owner. Name of the manager, different from the applicant, is David Western.
Beaverling?
Okay, okay. 216 Schoolhouse Road. Okay. And Summertown, Tennessee, 38483. Is that right? Okay. And birthday is 5/1/1972. Shall the permit be used to operate two or more restaurants or other business under the same permit or permitted by TCA 57-5-103 or within same buildings? No. Has any person having at least a 5% ownership interest, any of the manager listed or an other employee of the business been convicted of any violation, beer, alcohol, beverages, law, any crime other than minor traffic violation within the last 10 years? No. Has the owner or owners of the organization ever had a beer permit revoked, suspended, or denied in the state of Tennessee? No. Well, what is the name and address of the church or other places of ownership nearest to you? Business location. First United Methodist Church. 202 South Main Street, Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. What is the name and address of the school nearest to your businesses? J.E. Woody Elementary School, 600 North Locust Street, Mount Pleasant. What is the name and address of the owner of the nearest residence dwelling to your business location? Murray County Investment, 121 South Main. I hear knowledge of the law prohibiting the sale of beer to minors. I am aware that if these laws are violated, my permit will be revoked and I can face criminal prosecution. I understand that my permit should be revoked if any business location causes traffic congestion, interferes with school, churches, or other places of public gathering, or otherwise interfere with public health, safety, and more. A non-refundable of $250 fee must accompany this application. If this application is approved, you're required to provide documents of sale tax registration to the city within 10 days of approval. A privilege tax of $100 is imposed on the business for selling, distributing, storing, and manufacturing beer in this state effective January 1, 1994. Each successful January 1, any holder of the beer permit issued after January 1 shall pay a prorated portion of this annual tax within the permit is based issued. And any application making a false statement of this application shall forfeit his or her permit and shall be eligible to receive any permit for a period of 10 years. And it's signed. Y'all understand that? Okay. All right. I guess police report. We'll get a
Both Mr. Hatcher and Mr. Weaverling have passed a thorough background check. And as for the distances, we have an attorney's opinion.
All right. Good. Let's see, then, Mr. Frank would like to make a comment now.
Appropriate time. Frank Webb, the pastor at First Baptist Church, just a block away from here. We're here to speak in opposition to the brewery that wants to locate at this point on South Main Street. We have three main objections. The first one is the fact that we just oppose the danger and harm that alcohol often brings to people, to their lives, their families, and the community. All of us know so many people whose lives have been literally destroyed because of the use and abuse of alcohol. Just to give you one, remember a man attended our church just last week, spent about half of his adult life in prison because he got drunk and shot somebody. And those stories are repeated over and over again. So we believe there's already too many locations in Mount Pleasant that sell alcohol, and we feel like we don't need one more. Second reason that we're opposed to it has to do with the ordinance itself. We believe that the ordinance 8-216 section discriminates against our churches because it allows alcohol to be sold 4 times as close to a church as it does to a school, only restricting it 250 feet from a church, but 1,000 feet from a school. So we feel like that is unfair and unequal treatment under the ordinance. And the third reason that we're opposed to it is because of the way it's measured. Instead of measuring in a straight line as the state does, it's measured up and down the sidewalks and crosswalks and front doors in such a convoluted way that it really means nothing. Because if it can allow the sale of alcohol right across the street from a church and 1 block from our church, then the ordinance really doesn't provide any separation or restriction in distance. Up until just a few years ago, 2017, the ordinance required a 500-foot distance from churches measured in a straight line. And we had no way of knowing that was changed, no reason to need to know that was changed until we started hearing rumor about the brewery. We felt like we were well protected because of that ordinance. And then it was changed on us, and we didn't even know about it until recently. So we wish and pray that it would be changed back to the way it used to be, the 500-foot separation from churches measured in a straight line. So for all those reasons, we are opposed to the brewery at that location. We believe there's many other suitable places in Mount Pleasant that it could go without having to be in close proximity to our churches. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Jimmy, you have anything?
Yeah, we've got an attorney here, and he's got an opinion on this, and is it appropriate for the audience to ask questions of him?
Maybe he can just make a general statement to the beer board. And we had to hire Mr. Holt because our city attorney has a conflict with the landlord of the building. So normally you'd see a different face, but we've hired Mr. Charlie Holt. And if you just want him to explain his position, his legal opinion, I think that's appropriate.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So is it right now?
I would think so.
Charlie,
I would imagine that the next thing that you're going to do is vote on it. So you want to have any input from the audience or your
Right.
attorney.
I mean, would you get up?
Sure. I think you can all hear me. I was asked to give an opinion as to
Can y'all hear him? Get up, Charlie, and turn around. I hate to tell a lawyer what to do, but
No, I'll be happy to. I was asked to give an opinion as to the enforceability of your ordinance, okay? And in order to do that, I had to rely upon information given to me. I've been in governmental work for Lawrence County for more than 30 years, I guess. Been through beer permits, represented the beer board. Probably had a hiatus where I represented an applicant for a beer permit at some time. We've argued over whether cemeteries or places of public gathering, everything in the world. But there's one constant that's been around since the 1950s. If you ever grant a permit in violation of your ordinance, and then the next, and it can be a violation, but it's typically the violation of the distance requirement. Then the next applicant comes in and says, I want a permit. And you say, but you're within the 250-foot rule or the 2,000-foot rule or whatever rule you have. The applicant says, yeah, but you gave old Joe over here a permit and he's only 1,500 from the church as opposed to being 2,000 feet, or he's only 200 as opposed to the 250. How can you give him a permit and not give me a permit? And the courts have consistently held, if you violate your ordinance, your distance requirements, as to distance requirements, those distance requirements are void, as if you have no ordinance. And it gives some fairly strong language in some of them. There's a city of Murfreesboro case. When you prove discriminatory enforcement, it says any distance ordinance is completely removed as a valid ground for denial of a permit. So anyway, I was asked to render an opinion, and based upon the information I was given, that at least one place had been granted a license in violation of the ordinance. It is my opinion that and that is since the adoption of the new ordinance in November 2017. It's my opinion that right now the distance requirement is void. If you deny this applicant a permit, he's going to appeal to the Circuit of Chancery Court. My opinion, more likely than not, I'm not a guaranteeing lawyer, but I've been around a while. More likely than not, court's going to say, but you discriminatorily enforced your ordinance, you don't have an ordinance. And I'm granting a permit, regardless.
anybody,
That's my opinion.
Anybody have a comment?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, you have anything?
No, that makes pretty clear to me.
We have an application in front of us for a beer permit. Do I hear a motion?
A motion for it to be approved.
All right, Bill Dawson made a motion approve for the beer permit. I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Jimmy Hines is seconded. All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? I have it. Anything else?
Thank you.
For adjourn.